Donald Trump is in free fall. I mean, we're talking a major disaster. It has been a snowball effect over the last couple days, and a new poll just came out that was absolutely devastating for his campaign. We'll get to that in a second. But first, it all came to a head today with this rally in Saginaw, Michigan. Dude, he's downsizing. It's a fucking school gym. It's not even full, bro.
Taking his feet out of his head, and they think this is good. But who can do this? Who can fall asleep with cameras blazing? This is our president, the president-Xi of China.
He's not even filling a gymnasium anymore, dude. It's empty, bro. It is empty, boss. Dude, this is an indoor track. It's like half of a gym basketball court. He's doing the half-court press, bro. Saginaw is a population of 50,000, bro. That's a pretty major city. The metro area is 200,000. It's not even one of those small towns. This is a major Michigan city, and he can't even summon a full indoor high school gym. That's wow. 30 days before the election, bro. That's a big yikes. As you can see, that space was nearly empty. And not only that, the crowd that was there was mostly disinterested.
We did great in 2016. A lot of people don't know. We did much better in 2020. We won. We did win. It was a rigged election. You have to tell Kamala.
You can see the people behind him. They're on their phones. They're not even paying attention. And even when he went into this bit about 2020 election being rigged, it didn't even land on the audience. This was a dead room, which wasn't much different from the day before. Talking dementia level, Trump just out of it. Could barely stand up at the podium. He was just all over the map with rambles like this.
I think that a state like Iowa and Idaho and Indiana, I think you'd end up, I was looking at him the other night, just from common sense, with a party of common sense. And then I said, more than anything else now, with a party of common sense, because that's more important than anything else. We don't want men in women's sports.
And yes, that's the same speech where he talked about the veterans who have traumatic brain injury, described them as having headaches. I mean, Trump is really off his rocker. The man is circling the drain at this point. Now it gets worse because one of the issues that is renewed and is really coming to slap Trump in the face is January 6th. It started at the debate where J.D. Vance refused to answer the question if Trump won or lost in 2020. Now this was a big deal because J.D. Vance did his best to put a smooth talking, character changing spin on that debate. It didn't even really move the needle because, as you can see, Tim Walz's numbers went up after the debate, in part because of J.D. Vance hedging on that question. And then it got even worse for Trump when J.D. Vance admitted the next day that he actually believed Trump won in 2020. This is big. They asked Vance, who won the 2020 election? They went back in for this question. And this shit is very telling, bro.
Who won the 2020 election?
We're going to go to town hall.
Could you just answer, did Donald Trump win, yes or no?
Yes.
He did win?
Yep.
So will you concede? Will you concede?
This is being really disrespectful.
If your opponent gets more votes, will you concede?
I really feel bad for you, man.
I just want to know, if your opponent gets more votes, will you concede?
Dude, this is big, though. We have to pay attention to this because this is the vice presidential candidate after Donald Trump's first vice presidential candidate was nearly hung, threatened with death in an attack on the Capitol, an attack on American democracy because they didn't like the election results. If they lose, they believe they won. I mean, their game is out. If they win, it's a free and fair election. If they lose, it's rigged. They're not even hiding it. It's like out in the open now, which was devastating news to see them going deep into this election denial on the same day that Jack Smith's election interference case had a brief go public. Because now everyone is being reminded of how not only did Trump lose in 2020, but the criminal behavior he engaged in to try to overturn that loss.
This is what we know, that Donald Trump laid the groundwork to try to overturn the 2020 election even before he lost. knowingly pushing false claims of voter fraud and quote-unquote resorting to crimes in his failed bid to cling to power. That's according to a newly unsealed court filing from prosecutors that lays out fresh details from the landmark criminal case against the former president here.
Trump was going to declare victory no matter what, that he was told that the mail-in ballots would favor Democrats and that some of this litigation was arguably frivolous because Donald Trump was told that. So not necessarily anything new, but the sources of the evidence do matter.
And this is where it gets absolutely devastating for Trump, because now we have these polls that just came in, and one of these could literally be the end of the Trump campaign. Dude, this is the biggest average we've seen yet, dude. 3.9%. This is big. Look at this, dude. Holy shit, bro. Oh my God, dude. This is gotta have Trump freaking. It's the average of 5 polls, but Trump's lead is only 2.6% in Florida, bro. That's crazy to have a 2.6 average. That was like 12 points a couple months ago. The abortion measure could win it. She could win Florida, which would be insane. I feel like she should win Florida because of that deportation shit. There's so many Hispanic people in Florida. And for them to entrust Trump, the child separator, the guy who clearly making up lies about Haitian immigrants, there's 500,000 Haitian immigrants living in Florida. She should win Florida because Trump has been attacking the people. We know Trump is willing to lie and saying how he wants to take away their legal status. That's some bullshit. North Carolina is still a dead heat. Again, I think she's going to win North Carolina. Arizona's a dead heat. Georgia's a dead heat. But, dude, these polls, though, Trump has got to be shitting himself. And now we're going to have the whole month of disseminating the Trump election interference case. 538 has got the national polls. Kamala's averaged 2.7. It's been pretty steady around 2.7 to 2.9. She had a little bit higher of an average back in August, right after the convention, of course, but it's been pretty steady. Again, though, if you look at the polls, every single one of these polls has Harris winning. It's just a matter of by how much. Not one of these has a Trump ahead. That's bad news, bro, for Trump. With a race that is this close, like half of these polls should be showing a Trump lead. That's the thing about these polls that feels freakish and unnatural to me, is that, you know, they're all showing the Harris lead. There's not like half of them showing a Trump lead. Granted, though, you know, 32 days, dude, it's going to come down to the wire. I thought it's going to be this. This is the map that I had called from the beginning, which would be 273. And that's with her winning Wisconsin and Michigan, Nevada, and North Carolina. I think she's also going to win Pennsylvania. I think it's going to be 292 and possibly 308. But it could be this, dude. It could be 338 because people don't understand. A couple of things have happened in Florida. The wild cards in Florida are twofold. One is there is a very contentious abortion issue in Florida that is on the ballot. So there is a reason for every woman in Florida to get to the polls. This is a big one in Florida. Like, we're talking the difference between health care and no health care, between living and dying if you're pregnant kind of ballot measure in Florida. That's number one. Number two is there are 500,000 Haitian immigrants in Florida. And after that bullshit with Springfield, Ohio, with Vance and Trump making up shit about Haitian people, there's a lot of Haitians in Florida that may have an axe to grind. I believe there's enough people of color in Florida to push Kamala Harris over the top in that state. She could absolutely win Florida. Now, what the Republicans are doing, though, is they have been really spending all their shit here in Pennsylvania and Arizona. Charlie Kirk is like trying to register every frat boy in Arizona. Every white frat boy in Arizona, they're registering. TPUSA is having a college frat boy party in Arizona. And they're doing a ton of scare tactics with Hispanic people saying, oh, it took you forever to be legal, and Kamala is going to let all the illegals in. And then they've been also doing the same in Pennsylvania. Scott Pressler has been in Pennsylvania. So the Republicans have put all their eggs in these two baskets, like a lot of eggs. But even if they win all of this, though, Kamala still wins if she wins North Carolina. If they win their Pennsylvania with Scott Pressler, and if they win Arizona with Charlie Kirk, even if they do that, if she wins North Carolina, dude, it's over. But, you know, there's some wild cards, man, because Michigan could fall. There's Muslim voters that appear to be saying that they're going to allow Trump to win because of their animosity towards Kamala Harris. But I really think she wins Pennsylvania. See, this is the thing that's really hard, is you can whack this up in many different ways, right, for her to win. Like, she could lose Pennsylvania and she could win North Carolina and Michigan. Or she could lose Michigan and then she could win North Carolina and Pennsylvania. But for Donald Trump to win, okay, he's got to win Pennsylvania. And he's got to win either Michigan, Wisconsin, or North Carolina with Pennsylvania and Arizona. And then he can't lose something like Georgia or Florida. So Donald Trump, if he doesn't win North Carolina, he has to carry like all of these states. But yeah, I think it's going to be this. I really think it's going to be that. I really think, though, we could be seeing a bloodbath like this. I mean, I'm not saying we're going to, but this is possible. 338. This is entirely possible, bro. If they can get out the vote, man, they can win Florida and Georgia. They can. The Democrats can. If they get out the vote. If women and minorities show up and vote en masse. But dude, it's going to be a nail biter, bro. It's going to be a nail. The thing that's going to be troubling for Donald Trump is how he doesn't have multiple paths. You know what I'm saying? Like, Donald Trump has to carry like all of these states. He has to carry like 3 of these big guns. He can't lose North Carolina, Georgia, Pennsylvania. Like, I honestly, I feel like North Carolina is going to be the death of him, bro. It is. But it just got hit hard with the hurricane. So right now they're like making sure they can get out the vote. This is going to be crazy. But this is not looking good for Trumpy, dude. It isn't. I'm telling you right now, bro. This right here is honestly not looking good for Trump. I just hope the American people, man, I hope we come together. Dude, we really got to come together, dude. We got to be done with this Trump nonsense. We know his first term. We were there. Huge tax cut, money for wealthy people, firing people every week, rage tweets 24/7, nonstop drama, nonstop chaos, trying to destroy the Affordable Care Act, stupid-ass tariffs, trade war with China, manufacturing jobs left, the wall never got built, Mexico never paid for it. He never came up with a healthcare plan. He couldn't pass infrastructure. Then he bungled COVID, yelled at reporters, treated women like shit, tried to fuck all the interns. Like, it was just gross, dude. The whole term was just gross chaos. He tried to hang his VP, riots at the Capitol. As you can see, we have a perfect storm brewing around the Trump campaign, and I'm not talking about Hurricane Helene. I'm talking about Kamala Harris bringing this home. Trump is in free fall. The man is falling apart.
I think that the former president is really becoming quite desperate, and has really been offering a lot of misstatements and misinformation. And perhaps it's because he wants to distract from the fact that he has offered no plan for the American people. I invite you to go to his rallies, and what you'll hear about full time is him talking about himself and his personal grievances, but what you won't hear him talking about is you and the needs that you have as a working person, as a family person.
I'm so tired of this motherfucker. Is it just me? Like, I am so tired of this guy because he is like weaselly, liar, scumbag, degenerate, racist, misogynist. He's just a fucking pig, bro. And because he was born into a family where his daddy left him $400 million, he's been able to just be a pig his whole life and get away with it. Because when you have access to that kind of money, even if you file bankruptcy 100 times, it doesn't matter. He can get away with it. He doesn't even have to be good at what he does, bro. He could run every company into the ground and it wouldn't matter.